how do you get these little crystals to do their job inside the hive? Well, it's actually pretty cool. The whole method uses this scientific process called sublimation. Basically, you heat up the oxalic acid, and instead of melting into a liquid, it goes straight from a solid crystal, poof, into a gas. This vapor then fills up the entire hive, coating everything, including the bees, and that's how it gets to the mites. Okay, before we get into the how-to, we need to talk about your toolkit. And you really need to think about this in two parts. First, the hardware you need to actually do the vaporization, and second, and this is super important, the safety gear to protect yourself. So, the star of the show is the vaporizer itself. It's a really simple gadget, basically just a metal plate with a heater in it. You'll need a 12-volt power source to run it. A car battery works great. And then, of course, you need your oxalic acid crystals and just a scrap of cloth or foam to plug up the hive entrance. And this right here is probably the most important thing I'm going to say today. Let's be really clear. You are taking an acid and turning it into a vapor that you could breathe in. Your safety is not optional. It is absolutely non-negotiable. You have to wear the right safety gear. I'm talking a proper respirator mask that's rated for acid vapors. That's to protect your lungs. You need safety goggles for your eyes, and you need acid-resistant gloves to protect your hands. Seriously, don't even think about cutting corners on this stuff. All right, with all that said, let's get into the actual procedure. You'll see how all this preparation leads to a really effective treatment. And you might be surprised at how quick and easy it is once you get the hang of it. Now, dosage is key. It's not one size fits all. It's all about how big your colony is. You want just enough to kill the mites, but you don't want to overdo it for the bees. So for a smaller hive, say about 5 frames, 1 gram is all you need. For a standard, bigger hive, like 8 to 10 frames, you'll bump that up to 2 or 3 grams. Nailing this dosage is a huge part of doing it right. The whole thing really boils down to just 4 simple steps. 1, you measure out your dose and put it in the vaporizer. 2, you seal up the hive entrance. 3, you slide the vaporizer in and hook it up to the power. And 4, when it's done, you unhook the power, pull the vaporizer out, and boom, you're on to the next one. And get this, the treatment itself is super fast. We're talking about the vaporizer only being on for a crazy short amount of time. Like, for that 1 gram dose, it might just be a minute. For a bigger dose, maybe up to 3 minutes. That's it. That's all it takes to get the job done. Okay, so now you know the how, but the next big question is, should you? Let's zoom out a little bit because like any beekeeping method, this one has some real pros, but also some cons you need to be aware of. And really, here's the main trade-off. If you've only got a handful of hives, this method is amazing. It's super fast, super effective. But if you're a beekeeper with, say, 100 hives, going from one to the next, it can get really tiring, and it's a ton of work. And one other thing to remember, this vapor really only gets the mites that are on the adult bees. It can't get to the ones hiding inside the capped brood cells. That's why it's most effective when the queen isn't laying a lot, during a broodless period.